JB here. September 9th, 2021. Just going to be really quick. Not much to talk about. I haven't done much the last 2 days besides flip some FUBO calls yesterday morning. And then it's watching stocks like the JYNT, Intercept just kind of sit there, chop around. And then you have names like Boston Beer, downgrade, well, not downgrade. They removed their 2021 guidance. And that was on the heels of just a rough earnings report. Despite beating on the revenue side, their expectations around the growth in their Trulia brand, I guess it's been underwhelming, despite it still having a high growth rate. Competition, competitive concerns, is it saturated market where there's other products now stealing share from that? Who knows? So that, and then last but not least, and maybe first I'll talk about Peloton, and their earnings horrible last quarter, right? They talked about just a substantial decrease in regards to how many people are actually using the app, I guess, right? I forget the exact data points on that. There's concerns around their logistics. They still have issues trying to meet orders, and then they had those recall issues. And I think there was also a Department of Justice investigation, and there's a lot of negativity wrapped around Peloton right now because of all the things going on. So at some point, then it's going to rally 15 or 20% just because. I think the long-term story for Peloton, it's still like people look at it and just think it's a bike, but it's not a bike. It's an ecosystem of online health, right? Online health and wellness. So whether they start transforming into other areas and start growing, start adding on to the addressable market of their business, it looks like they might have done it this morning with their new line of Peloton clothing, right? Their new private label apparel brand. And then you go and click on some of the apparel, like $64 for it looks like shorts that you could get at Walmart for $4.99, And I'm not taking away. I'm sure they're high quality. I'm not going to order one because to see the quality, because I just not me. That's not where I don't invest money in shorts for $64. But there are people that will wear that, and they'll especially knowing it's $64 will be, oh wow, this is it's a premium brand, premium model. So they'll look at that and say, and then they'll see other people wearing it. So I got to wear this. And it has a very loyal fan base. So the users that use Peloton are very loyal. I wouldn't say exactly like Apple, but similar. So it's an easy transition for them. So we'll have to see. I mean, if you have local gyms, and I always talk about the Orange Theory Fitness, they have their own clothing line that clothes that they have in their studios. So you go in there and it's $40 or $50 for a shirt and yoga pants or whatever, and people buy them. And it's high margin. So just a great add-on, I think. And Lululemon had a monster quarter after it closed yesterday. So I don't know if that's some of it too. But at some point, I was looking this morning, the 106s were like 20 cents. I think they're like $1.40 now. Kind of kicking myself there, but at some point maybe I'll revisit that name. But that's Peloton. The JYNT back up right near all-time highs, 110.17. It hit just a couple hours ago. I think it hit 111.01 on Tuesday. I could pull it back and find out what the exact dollar amount. 111.06 on Tuesday, kind of right in the morning. And then it faded all the way down to 101 yesterday. So I'm not going to sit here and say that's not a possibility. Again, after hitting highs this morning, is it going to go back to 101 tomorrow? I hope not. But I'm not going to add any more strikes into October until I see it hold the ground here. Maybe if it gets back over 110 tomorrow, I'll look to get some 130, 135s in October. Because, again, I think at some point this gets a FOMO move into the 115, 120, 125 level on the JYNT. But it's got to happen quick for my 120s. I'm still holding on to my freebie 110s too. At some point, I'll look to lock those in. I was looking to lock them in at $5 on Tuesday. It came right up to near the ask, and I didn't get a fill, but the spread was wide. So that's that. So that's the JYNT. Oh, iRobot, right? So first this morning, there was a negative TechCrunch article talking about, I guess, I didn't even read it, but from the title, it sounds like, there's always people you see post on social media around their iRobot picking up dog poop and then pushing the poop all around the floor. I don't know, that's what it looks like. iRobot tech, I could probably actuator, right? Publishes report titled iRobot's Poop Problem Actuator. I'll have to read it. Let's see. The glut of robotic vacuums. You see, iRobot had a poop problem. There are dozens, if not hundreds, of YouTube videos documenting the phenomenon. As a Roomba approaches a pile of fresh dog poopings hovers over it, and then makes a snail-like trail of fecal smears across the hardwood floor carpet. This is not anything new. That was this morning. So I guess the folks assumed it was going to be a negative spin on it, and the stock kind of bounced. And then this afternoon, they announced their Roomba J7 robot vacuum with Genius 3.0. I guess is a huge upgrade. So analysis this says it's their most significant new software in years, says Raymond James. Now it says a free upgrade of iRobot Genius 3.0 is available across the company's entire portfolio of connected robots, blah, blah, blah. So I don't know if that's going to spark shares, going to need to move here today and tomorrow, but maybe tomorrow I'll look to add some strikes on robot. At some point, I still don't understand, but I mean, the company has no debt, tons of cash, doing accelerated stock buyback. It's not like they're not continuing to grow. It's not a declining business. There's still opportunities there. It trades like a little more than 1 times revenues, has a 22% short interest. At some point, this thing takes off into the 90s, 100s. But of course, trying to time it on the options on a weekly basis could be painful. So at some point, I'm not going to add to what I have yet. I'll wait till tomorrow when my options are set to expire. I talked about Boston Beer a little bit, but Boston Beer, I put it on the watch list this morning. I'm like, it's dropped over 50% from its all-time high only a couple months ago. And pretty much what it's saying, back in May, it was $1,300 stock. Now it's $540. So pretty much what the market is kind of saying is that the Trulia brand accounts for almost more than 50% of the market capitalization of Boston Beer, right? I mean, the sales for the Trulia brand is still doing well. It's just they're not going to grow as fast as they had over the last couple of years. I've been looking to play for a bottom on Boston Beer. Then this morning, it was kind of it spiked at the open. Well, not spiked. It was still down substantially, but it was 518 or so, then up to 528, then back down to 511. So I kind of took it off the radar. And then sure enough, what does it do? It bounces from 511 all the way to 540. I take a look at the chart, the weekly chart on Boston Beer, right down to the 200-day moving average at 511.21. So it doesn't mean that's the bottom, but I mean, it could certainly, if we close, why does it say that? All right. If it closes nice today, or at least 540 or so, and it gets a bid tomorrow into the 550, 560, maybe the 600, 610s into next week might be a nice lotto, or I would call it a lotto because there's still time on it, and they're expensive. Let's see what the 600s are. 600 is probably like 80 cents. Let's see. That's my guess. Even look. 80 by dollar, right? So, yeah. Oh, was that the 610s? No, it's the 600s. Even a 590 is probably better. 115 by 145. I'll be watching. It's not moving much here over the last, since noon when it hit 542, I think. It's kind of been churning, so all that's going to do is kill premium, so I'll probably wait. Maybe tomorrow might be confirmation day if it opens and starts to head higher. Maybe that's the bottom's in on SAM, at least for the short term. So that's Boston Beer. Who else do we have here? Oh, NetEase, right? I don't know if they have NetEase on the watch list the day before. It seems almost that the negative news and regulatory concerns in China around gaming has kind of been baked into the stock now. So you saw, over the last couple of weeks, you had rumors that China was going to restrict the gaming sector in some way. Then they talked about, I guess, kids under 12 are only allowed to play games for 3 hours. And now you have reports out that they're going to put a halt on gaming approvals, meaning most games, and this happened, I don't know how many years ago it was with NetEase, but China did this before where they stopped the approval of games. So you could have a company like, for example, in the U.S., they could be Grand Theft Auto or whatever, and it would need to be approved by the government to be released, but they would say, oh, we're not doing any approvals. And there was no definitive period of when they were going to start to do approvals again. NetEase came a little bit under pressure, but then, obviously it's split, so it's up substantial from where it used to be. But here it is again, deja vu all over again, I guess you would call it. But to see them come and say that they're going to possibly stop these approvals, and to see the stock react like it did, it gapped down. I think it closed at 90 and change, gapped down to 85. I think it was near 84 and change right in the morning, and then just bounced back. So maybe this is baked in. I don't know if I'm going to try and trade it yet because there's too much headline risk. The thing is, when these China ADRs, when there's negative news overnight in China, who knows what the news is? All of a sudden you wake up the next morning, they're either gapping down 5% or gapping up 5%. I was able to catch that swing on NetEase a couple weeks ago, was it last week or the week before, where the stock was at 80 and went all the way up into the 90s. Who knows if that's going to happen again. Tomorrow we get some positive news overnight, and Netties is 95, but certainly risky if you're trying to play some lottos on Netties. But definitely a name I'll be watching in the coming weeks. What else did I have? I think that's it. Oh, SSYS is just sitting here at 24. Actually, some of the 3D names doing very well today. I think that's kind of helped put a bit in. But it's really got to get going. Obviously, my still have the 30s, right? So, and of course, so at some point, maybe I'll look to revisit that one for some longer dated strikes, because you look what happened with X1 and DM, the acquisition. There's going to be more consolidation in the sector, and I always stress it's like my favorite in that sector. It always has been. That's that. Intercept, all the way at 15:30. It looked like it was going to break out yesterday, mid-morning, and then it just kind of turned around again this morning. Looks like it's going to squeeze another high short interest name. I still don't get how at least it hasn't got some kind of bid. Doesn't trade much in regards to its revenue to sales, and with the possible wild card of any kind of positive FDA news in regards to their NASH product. So certainly I think there's some opportunity there for upside. And not only that, the strikes don't expire till next Friday. So still have some time on my freebies. Some others, I think I put on a watch list. If it broke into maybe 1550 or so, I might look to get 1750s for next week, or even go later dated strikes for the eventual movement to the 20s. Who else? Oh, man. WoW has just been completely, after it's moved all the way up near all-time highs, just been churning here in the low 20s. So it's tough for me to even watch. Loco, another one, looked like it was going to break out the other day, and then now it's back here at $18, really doing nothing. So those are two names that probably need some type of catalyst, whether an upgrade or we have to wait for earnings. Yeah, that's that. I've been watching TripAdvisor. Has been pretty much a dead duck ever since I got calls on that one. Another name I still don't, and again, probably needs some kind of update. Maybe they're going to give an update on their Trip Plus subscription service, how many people they've signed up. If that becomes some kind of catalyst, or another an analyst upgrade, or the travel sector gets a boost, who knows? But I'm still surprised it's still sitting down here at $35. And then some of my top 5 stocks for the back half in mode. I'm just crazy run. When it was I think it went to 116, then back to 108, and I just kind of took it off my radar. And here it is all the way up to 142 at noontime today. Just a great story. Similar. I think Qterra was the name I used to like. Kind of a similar story, except that company just didn't execute after its initial pop, so I kind of stopped watching that one. EXPI has been so volatile. Every time you look, each day it's either up or down 4%. So it becomes tough to play. And it's been sitting here in the range between the 40 and 50 level. So, at some point, I guess you would hope that it breaks out. It's getting tight on the weekly as well. But you look at the daily. Let's see if I have that up here. Yeah, it's just so tough to play. I think that's it. Tomorrow's the big inflation numbers, right? Always big. Every inflation number that comes out is bigger than the last one. But joking aside, it's the PPI tomorrow, and then Tuesday we get the CPI. That's the more common one. The PCE is supposedly what the Fed uses, but if it's flat or kind of in line, I think people start to, the argument for the transitory inflation, argument for that, I think will start to pick up. If it doesn't, we get a spike, then people say, oh, it's not going to be transitory, and then there might be some issues. The ECB is cutting back on their accommodative, their asset purchase program. They announced that this morning, but they're going to keep, their rates unchanged. Inflation, I guess, is over 3%. It's at a decade high in Europe. But again, if it's transitory, then what's that matter, right? I think that's it, folks. I'll try and get back on. I don't know if I'll get on after the close. And what earnings are after the close? There was, obviously saw Lulu after the close yesterday. Restoration Hardware. Gosh, today is when that stock was $30. It used to be Restoration Hardware was $30 and had like a 50% short interest, and I'd be buying calls on it. I said, well, people used to hate it. You had Citron Research said it was like a garbage stock. All these people are bearish on it. I'm like, it's a great story. But then I missed most of the last huge run. But it always, there was... I'm sorry about that. I just set off my Alexa. Yeah, so it's such a great story, and they I think when the stock hit $100, this nobody liked the Bears hated the CEO, and he went and they did an offering, and they like bought back all these shares to kind of like help with the short interest, and I think a lot of that kind of rescued them. And the CEO, he used to send out these emails to their to their showrooms, like nasty emails, and people didn't like that. But hey, look where the stock is now, firing on all cylinders. Yeah, that's it, folks. I'll try and get back on, probably not today, probably before the open tomorrow. Let's have a great day. Rock and roll.